Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into one of the absolute biggest and, honestly, most misunderstood challenges in enterprise tech right now. Boards everywhere are throwing just massive amounts of money at AI, but they're completely flying blind without a solid financial compass. So today, we're untangling the total cost of ownership, or TCO, for enterprise AI. We are officially done with those quirky, experimental AI pilots. We are strictly in the era of core enterprise infrastructure now. But here's the catch. To actually capture that boardroom-level value, you absolutely need a fundamentally new financial architecture. By the end of our time together today, you're going to have a crystal-clear framework to measure, manage, and essentially master your AI investments. It's time to bring some real financial discipline to this space.
To cut through the noise, we're going to follow a really structured six-part roadmap today. We'll start with Section 1, AI as an appreciating asset, then move to Section 2 on the 4 pillars of cost. Section 3 is why you need to beware the silo tax, and Section 4 covers FinOps and tracking every dollar. Finally, we'll hit Section 5 on the cloud versus on-prem flip, and wrap up with Section 6, your strategic AI playbook.
Okay, Section 1, AI, an appreciating asset. To really get this, we basically need to rethink our tech investments from the absolute ground up.
Historically, traditional IT hardware and software have pretty much always been treated as a depreciating ledger. You buy it, and literally from day one, it decays in value. It's just a sunk cost. But enterprise AI, it completely flips the script. When it's governed correctly, AI actually operates as an appreciating asset. And you might be wondering, well, how exactly does a piece of software appreciate? It happens through what we call strategic learning loops. Think of a customer service AI. On day one, it's mostly just a baseline cost. But fast forward to day 300, after it's continuously ingested thousands of your proprietary interactions and gotten all that iterative feedback, it's now resolving issues 50% faster. It literally compounds in value over time. It gets smarter, more tailored, and way more efficient. So your marginal cost of adding new capabilities drops, while the marginal value scales exponentially. But, and this is a multi-million-dollar caveat here, to capture that long-term appreciation, you've got to survive the short-term setup.
Which brings us right to Section 2, the 4 pillars of cost. Because to get that long-term payoff, we've got to survive the immediate and honestly sometimes painful realities of getting AI off the ground.
Look at this number, 95%. That is a staggering, frankly shocking reality. Nearly 95% of generative AI pilots fail to ever reach production, let alone deliver any kind of measurable ROI. You've got to ask yourself, with all the hype, all the massive promises, and all the venture funding flooding the space, why on earth are failure rates this astronomically high?
Well, it mostly boils down to 3 huge short-term hurdles that just blindside unprepared organizations. First up is the CapEx shock. Whether you're absorbing massive upfront hardware costs for on-prem systems or exposing yourself to completely unpredictable pay-as-you-go OpEx in the cloud, those initial setup costs are brutal. Second is the data readiness bottleneck. Over 57% of organizations admit their data is nowhere near AI ready. It's trapped in legacy formats, scattered everywhere, or totally unlabeled. Teams end up wasting weeks doing data audits just to get a single model running. And third, the pilot purgatory trap. Teams keep funding these cool, isolated experiments that look amazing in a controlled demo, but they totally fail to integrate into the actual messy day-to-day operations of the business. The result? Stranded capital, redundant spending, and absolutely zero scale.
All right. Section 3. Beware the silo tax. Let's uncover the hidden financial drains that sneak right onto your balance sheet when AI agents are deployed the wrong way.
Now, what's really interesting here is the orchestration gap. Picture this. Your marketing AI spins up an absolutely brilliant outbound campaign, but it literally cannot talk to your sales AI to track the leads or update the CRM. This gap represents the hidden costs and massive inefficiencies that pop up when autonomous agents are deployed in disconnected, functional silos instead of through a centralized orchestration layer. It is a silent drain on your budget, and most execs completely miss it until they are staring at an ROI deficit.
When we actually break down this silo tax, the numbers are wild. Because your agents aren't connected, they end up triggering duplicate or conflicting actions, leaking 15 to 20% of your automation value right out the door. That means humans have to step in and fix the exact things the AI was supposed to automate. On top of that, siloed data causes agents to confidently generate incorrect outputs, which amplifies your data errors by another 10 to 15%. And finally, because your IT team is stuck building custom point-to-point connections between all these disjointed agents just to keep the lights on, you get hit with a 7 to 10% engineering overhead. And worst of all, that overhead grows quadratically as you add more agents. That is highly paid engineering time literally just wasted on overhead. Moving on to Section 4, FinOps, tracking every dollar. We absolutely need a heroic operating model to stop the bleeding and bring financial accountability back to AI. To get that accountability, top-tier enterprises are leaning on a super granular tagging taxonomy. Since AI workloads are incredibly dynamic, traditional server metrics just do not cut it anymore. You can't just look at uptime. You've got to track token-based consumption and GPU saturation. By using a standardized tagging system like this, organizations map every single dollar of API token and GPU spend straight to a specific business unit. Notice how tagging by project instantly separates crazy expensive model training from your standard everyday inference, or how using a cost center tag enforces direct internal billing, what the industry calls chargeback and showback reporting. This literally flips the entire boardroom conversation from, wow, IT is spending way too much money, to marketing's AI investment is driving exactly this much ROI. It's the ultimate blueprint for enforcing strict financial discipline without slowing down your developers.
Next up, Section 5, the cloud versus on-prem flip. Now that we know how to track our costs, let's look at how they scale over a 3 to 5 year horizon.
There is a massive structural shift happening right now that challenges pretty much everything we know about cloud computing. When we model an enterprise running an 8x NVIDIA H100 GPU server continuously over 5 years, the math is completely undeniable. Renting that compute power in the cloud on demand is going to cost you a cumulative $4.3 million. But buying and operating that exact same hardware on premises, and yes, that includes the upfront system costs, the power, the cooling, the whole shebang, is just over $871,000. We are talking about a net long-term savings of $3.4 million. The whole legacy assumption that the cloud is just inherently cheaper completely falls apart when you're dealing with sustained, heavy-duty enterprise AI workloads.
So the real trick is knowing exactly when to make that jump. Financial managers calculate what's called a daily utilization threshold. Get this, if your active use of cloud GPUs hits just 4.9 hours per day, literally not even a full standard workday, you've hit your inflection point. At just 4.9 hours of daily active use, moving your hardware on-prem delivers an absolute order of magnitude reduction in your total cost of ownership. It's a real game changer, a multi-million-dollar realization that really needs to reshape how infrastructure leaders plan for the next half-decade. Finally, Section 6, your strategic AI playbook. Let's take all these complex financial models and turn them into a totally concrete action plan for your executive team.
Here are the 4 non-negotiable steps you need to take right now to build a resilient AI financial architecture. Step 1. Enforce granular tagging immediately. Get your FinOps in check so you know exactly who is spending what, literally down to the token. Step 2. You've got to stop allocating 100% of your budget to net new models. Budget 25 to 30% specifically for a centralized orchestration layer to kill that massive silo tax we talked about earlier. Step 3. Evaluate your on-premises inflection point. If your active workloads are blowing past that 4.9-hour daily threshold, start planning your transition now so you can capture those millions in savings. And lastly, Step 4. Embed compliance in the design phase. Please, do not treat compliance as an afterthought. Regulatory frameworks like the EU AI Act carry massive penalties, up to 15 million euros or 3% of your global turnover. You do not want that bill. Build automated logging and oversight straight into your architecture from day one to avoid catastrophic liabilities.
Let's leave you with this really provocative question to ponder today. Is your enterprise AI infrastructure genuinely built to appreciate in value over time, or is it really just built to cost you money? If you're stuck in pilot purgatory, or you're leaking automation value through those orchestration gaps, or bleeding capital on inefficient cloud instances, it is absolutely time to fundamentally rethink your architecture. Take the playbook we walked through today and start treating your AI like the compounding strategic asset it has the potential to be. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep analyzing, and I'll see you next time.